In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to block and unblock basses for when an accordion is being shipped. You may have seen pictures on YouTube of accordions for sale with buttons down underneath the baseboard, and if you pardon me, I'll show you here. The baseboard is here, all of these buttons, and sometimes you'll see buttons down underneath, and that's because they've been handled rough in shipping, and no matter how carefully we try to package these things on the outside, sometimes the shippers will drop them. And so we have a way of blocking the basses so that these buttons will not go down underneath. And I've done that on this accordion, and I'm going to show you how that works. Now, there's a bass cover here that is normally held down by 4 screws. I've already loosened the 4 screws because nobody wants to watch a video of somebody tightening and loosening screws. Normally, this bass strap would be removed for the ease of this bass cover coming off, but in this case, as I turn the knob on the other side of the accordion, you can't see it, I apologize for that, which loosens that bass strap, it only goes so far and it seems to catch. And rather than run the risk of damaging that or having to dismantle everything to fix whatever is causing it to catch, in this particular case and in many cases, if you don't want to take that out, because sometimes they're hard to get the threading started back in, if you can take off this bass cover without taking that off, sometimes it's easier. Now, the thing you have to be very careful about is right here there's an air button, and you want to be sure not to damage that air button. And as I said, this bass cover is normally held in place by 4 screws, but they are gone. Now, I have this position to make this a little easier on on kind of a contraption that is designed to hold an accordion upside down so that this bass cover is up. Very handy for if you want to make adjustments or see what's happening in here, or when you want to remove the packing. But you could make a makeshift one yourself, anything to block the accordion from sliding. Just be sure if you prop it up in some manner like that, not to put anything against the switches, treble switches, and just let the curvature of the grill gently rest against something as opposed to putting all of its weight on it. Now for the tricky part, to remove this without removing the bass strap, you'll notice that the bass strap can be kind of flexed so that it's higher on one end or the other. By pushing on one end and lifting up, we'll kind of take advantage of this in order to take out one corner at a time. And I choose to take out these 2 top corners because I have to move the board the least over this air button switch, and you don't want to catch or damage that air button switch. You don't want to bend the rod to it, so you have to be extremely careful. I'll lift this up a little bit and kind of twist, keeping this one end higher, and now comes the slightly harder part. Slide this under, and you want to be very careful and kind of lift this up a little bit because there are a lot of little pins sticking up in there, and you don't want to catch and bend those pins, but generally you can slide it over it fairly easily. Hopefully you can see, but in this part of the mechanism I've already pre-cut and put, in this case, 2 pieces of corrugated cardboard, and just the right length so that they'll fit. Now, without that cardboard, what happens is you press the button, and you may not be able to see it from this angle on the video, but the end of a rod comes down and hits a stop. Well, it may go beyond that stop, and the stop might bend a little bit in real rough treatment and might get caught. I don't think it would on this accordion, but to be absolutely certain that doesn't happen, we put, in this case, 2. Sometimes 1 piece of cardboard will do it. I put 2 pieces of cardboard in there that are pre-cut, not to be any higher because I'm going to have to put that baseboard back over them. but you can grab them by one end and pull them out. And I usually like to pull them out one end at a time, and one piece of cardboard at a time, so I don't catch what they're caught onto. So that's all you need to do, is remove that baseboard. Very, very carefully take the cover out from underneath. After you have done that, you're ready to put the cover back on. Now I'm getting ready to ship this, so I will leave those in and put this together as if you were getting ready to ship an accordion. And I'm going to do almost the reverse procedure here. I'm going to carefully put the end with the air button in, and then I'm going to try to raise the other end up very carefully and slip the board over. Now sometimes you have to put one end or the other above the little ledges that it rests on so you can slide it. Now I've carefully put this over the air button, being careful not to bend the air button, and the air button works fine. So I am ready to put the screws in and ship the accordion. I'll not bore you with the process of tightening screws, but I will tell you that when I take screws out of an accordion, particularly an older accordion, they frequently have been worked on by somebody. Sometimes people lose screws and put bigger ones or different ones in. In order to make sure that the screws fit where they went, I put the screws on a piece of cardboard and mark where they go. This one says air hole, so this is the one that goes closest to the air hole, the one below it, the one over here, etc. And in this case, somebody has worked on this accordion before, which is typical of older accordions, or tinkered with it, or packed it for shipment. And they apparently have lost a couple of the screws and replaced them, or one had worked loose and they replaced it with one slightly bigger. But that's why I make sure I put the screws back where they came from, because they're not always exactly the same size. So that's what I think you need to know about blocking basses and removing the bass cover and replacing the bass cover, even if it's easier in a certain case not to remove the bass strap. That won't work on all accordions, but I have done it on several accordions when I purchased accordions on eBay, and they've come in not properly prepared and not properly shipped with bass buttons down. Normally you don't have to work in this section at all. If you do, it's because you're going to need to do a complete dismantling, and you better have a lot of experience before you try that. But that's the end of this video. Hopefully it will be of some help for you. I'm going to put it up particularly for the person who purchased this accordion so that they will see it, and hopefully it'll be of help to somebody else too. My accordion channel on YouTube is brand new, so I'll be putting up other things on it from time to time, and hope you'll check back. Thank you.